How is he only a 90 overall? You have Richard Sherman, some old man who can't run for jack.
You need to put respect on Zach Ertz's name and a bunch of other tight ends that should be higher than Rob Gronkowski.
The man hasn't played since 2018. He's not going to be the NL MVP.
And then he goes onto an Instagram live where he seems to have been under the influence, smoking a cigar.
I don't think MVP is indicative of the best player in the league.
Hey everybody, we're back. Episode 32 of GOAT Chat. We're going to start with one of our signature segments, obviously. Go the number 32. Connor, who do you have?
Well, I think number 32 is definitely a big baseball number. I mean, last week we had 31, basketball number, excuse me. Last week was 31, and that was a big baseball number. So 32, I think the majority of us should have basketball. I think, Tommy, obviously you're going to go with baseball here. I have a feeling who I know you're going to go with, but I'm going to go with Magic Johnson, Magic Irvin Johnson. 12-time All-Star. He led the league in assists 4 times, twice in steals, 5-time NBA champion, 10-time All-NBA, 3-time Finals MVP, and he won 3 MVPs on his own. He's averaged a double-double in his career, with points and assists. And another big thing that really drove me to Magic Johnson was, as we've said on this podcast before, it's what you do off the court. And obviously we all know that he had to take 4 years away from basketball due to HIV. And now he's still battling with it every day, but he's kind of become a spokesperson for the disease, which is definitely a big stride. And I mean, he's definitely helped with the awareness. I mean, all of his fame and everything that he could give back, he's given it back to possibly finding a cure for these diseases and helping people with it. So for those reasons, I'm going to go Magic Johnson.
Yeah, that's a great pick, Connor. Mike, who do you have?
Honestly, this is a tough one because there are some very good football players as well as baseball players, but I'm going to have to agree with Connor here. Going off all the reasons you said, 5-time champ, 3-time MVP. But not only that, he was one of the most versatile players in the NBA ever. In the finals in his rookie year, I'm pretty sure their center, I forgot who it was. I don't know if it was Kareem or I don't think Kareem was in LA yet. But their center was out for that series. So Magic Johnson, the point guard, subs in that center, and he wins finals MVP that year. That's absolutely phenomenal. No, I'm pretty sure no other rookie in NBA history has done that. So Magic Johnson did something that other players have not done. That's why I'm going with him for go to number 32.
Yeah, that's another great pick, Mike. Matt, who do you have?
I'm going to give it a little more, I don't know what the word is, but I totally agree that you guys can make a case for Magic Johnson. I think this is a very hard one, but I'm going to have to go with a little more Syracuse pride. He played on the Syracuse Orange, went to the NFL and played for the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to go with Jim Brown. 3-time MVP, 8-time All-Pro, 9-time Pro Bowler. He was actually listed as a fullback. I just realized that. I thought he was a running back this whole time, but he was actually listed as a fullback that won 3 MVPs in kind of an award that's dominated by quarterbacks that we've seen in the past and now in the present. It's still dominated by quarterbacks, and we've talked about this with running backs like Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, those kind of guys, Marshall Faulk winning the MVP as a running back. But this guy was a fullback. He played 9 years in the NFL and still made a huge impact statistically in the running back category, running back / fullback category, whatever you want to call it. So I do think Magic Johnson is a fantastic pick. It was so hard for me to choose, but I'm going to go with Jim Brown. And it makes me feel better that you guys picked Magic Johnson, and I'll throw out Jim Brown so we can get kind of a mix in all sports because I know Tommy's going to go baseball. So.
Yeah, so Tommy, why don't you give us the baseball guy that you're going to bring into us this week?
Yeah, well, you guys had great picks, but like you said, I got to go with the baseball guy. So we're going to go with an icon, Sandy Koufax, one of the best pitchers of all time. He was with the Brooklyn Dodgers and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And, I knew how good of a pitcher he was, but not to the level until I started looking up his stats today. Clearly, he's in the Hall of Fame. He won MVP, which is pretty impressive for a pitcher to win the MVP of the National League. A 3-time Cy Young Award winner. He won 3 World Series with the Dodgers. and he won the World Series MVP in 2 of those World Series, 7-time All-Star. And he had a 48.9 career WAR, which is pretty impressive considering that he only pitched 12 seasons. And really, all these stats are impressive to compile all those in such a short period of time. He had a 2.78 career ERA, which is very respectable. 185 wins for the Dodgers, or 165, that is, excuse me. And he just dominated throughout his entire career. A 3-time Triple Crown winner as well, which is just remarkable. He's one of the best pitchers of all time. So I had to go with Sandy Koufax this week.
I don't think we can have any arguing this week and go to the number. I mean, we all brought definitely some solid players to the mix here. One more person that I wanted to mention, another icon in LA is Shaquille O'Neal. Mike, did I steal your guy?
No, I thought you were going with someone else. I'll mention someone after Shaq.
Well, I mean, Shaquille O'Neal, I mean, he played for numerous teams, primarily the Lakers and the Heat are what he's known for. Obviously, they won a title. He won a title in Miami in 2006, and then he went to LA after Miami, correct? Or was it before? I think
he went to LA before Miami. He was with the Magic to start his career.
You're correct. I mean, him with the Magic, we always remember the video of him breaking the backboard on a dunk. And then, I mean, him and Kobe in LA just kind of dominated the league for several years. So Shaq's definitely an honorable mention here.
Another honorable mention I want to throw out there. He's probably more famously known for his famous lawsuit that was televised, but O.J. Simpson. People kind of forget how talented of an NFL running back he was. He did win an MVP as a running back. Not only that, he did rush for 2,000 yards in the 1973 season, along with 12 touchdowns. And then 2 years later, he rushes for 1,800 yards and 16 touchdowns. So this guy was a bell cow running back that you could just hand the ball off to and just say run. You know, this guy was absolutely dominant, and I feel like his playing career gets overlooked by his actions off the field. I mean, which is, you know, understandable and everything, but people just forget how dominant he was on the field. So I just want to throw his name out.
That's definitely a great one. And I'm sure, does anyone else have any other 32s?
I have a couple, and I won't get into them too much. But Roy Halladay, he had an incredible career as well with the Blue Jays and Phillies. He was a great pitcher, was inducted into the Hall of Fame a couple years ago. And then Elston Howard as well, won MVP with the Yankees and has number retired with them. They both had great careers, and they're worthy of being acknowledged as well.
Well, hey, it's not a go the number segment without a Yankee, so. That's
right.
I'm sure there's a lot of more great 32s that maybe the timestamp guy will let us know. Definitely let us know in the comments if we missed the 32. We miss a lot of players sometimes, but if anyone else has any more comments, or we can move into our next topic.
I say we swing it right in.
Swing it. Good one.
Welcome back to Go Chat here. Obviously, on Monday's episode, we were talking about baseball and kind of how we wish that we were talking about the Yankees specifically. And I had mentioned that we hoped that we were talking about this just one episode later so we could talk about the trade deadline. Well, the trade deadline has now come and passed. Very surprisingly, I didn't see a lot of huge names trade like we thought we would. I mean, first off, we were talking about the Yankees on Monday. No moves from Brian Cashman. We'll get into that with Tommy here very quickly, but I mean, I just kind of want to go over the two big moves that I saw in the league, which were Mike Clevenger to the Padres, who are obviously in a win-now situation, and then Starling Marte to the Marlins, who then comes into the game on Tuesday night and hits a home run to eventually win them the game. So, I mean, that's a good accusation for the Marlins, and then the Padres are in a win-now situation. So I'm going to give it to our baseball guy here first, kind of just to break this all down.
Yeah, I think that the Mike Clevenger trade was great for the Padres and Starling Marte as well. And you mentioned those two teams, the Padres and the Marlins. They're not necessarily teams that we were thinking were going to be in the playoff race. You know, the Padres, they were getting better. So that's not as much of a surprise. But to have the Marlins, you know, if the season ended today, they'd be in the postseason. So, you know, that's a good move. I think he'll definitely help out their lineup, and Mike Clevenger as well. He'll help out the Padres a lot. And they have a really strong core there, and he's just going to add to it. So I think those are both great moves.
Now, Mike, the Marlins are in the NL East with the Mets, and the Marlins being in the playoffs means the Mets aren't.
Yeah, as of right now, that is correct. The Mets are not playing well. They lost 2 horrible games to the Yankees, and then they lost the Marlins yesterday. They lost the Orioles again, and it's just miserable for the Mets. But anyways, enough talk about the Mets. I do think the Mike Clevenger trade was a really good one for the Padres. They didn't give much of their farm system away. I mean, it was a little bit of quality, but I didn't think it was enough to surrender Mike Clevenger, especially hearing the reports that Cleveland wanted this huge haul for Mike Clevenger, and the Padres only had to give up as much as they did. So I thought that was a great trade. Also, the Padres, if I'm not mistaken, they did trade for Mitch Moreland, and he's been on fire this season, batting over 300. He's hitting dingers left and right. So that's another big trade for the Padres, a team that we thought could probably compete for a playoff spot, but not play as well to this extent. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with Tatis becoming one of the absolute best players in the league. And then you also want to talk about Marte. He's a good addition for the Marlins, but I'm confused. They trade VR to the Blue Jays. Why they trade Jonathan VR to the Blue Jays if you're going to trade for Marte? Like, are you selling or are you buying? You know what I mean? I mean, that was kind of confusing. I mean, it was a good trade for the Marlins, I guess. You know, they got a quality player, but I don't know why you're trading VR if you're trying to, quote-unquote, win now. But I thought it was good trades for both teams.
Now, another thing that I kind of want to talk about fairly quickly is a name that has been talked about being traded for a long time, and we're talking about Cleveland, is Francisco Lindor. There's been a lot of people talking about possibilities of him being traded this year, of him being traded last offseason, potentially this offseason. So, Tommy, I'm going to ask this question to you specifically: do you think Lindor gets traded, or does Cleveland pay him?
That's a tough one. I've always wondered if, the Yankees might go after him or another team that needed a shortstop, but I don't know. I could see him in Cleveland for some time to come, but that's really a tough one. I'm really not sure what their plan is because you've heard them at different trade deadlines. He is available, but it's got to be for the right pieces, and I think ultimately they do want to hang on to him, but they would move him if they did get the right the right return, some good prospects, or some major league ready players. But yeah, I'm not really sure about that, Connor. We'll have to see.
Matt, we haven't heard from you. What's your take on the trade deadline here?
I think both great moves by the Padres and Marlins. Kind of disappointed that I have a Marlin on my fantasy team now, but hey, it is what it is. But definitely great moves for 2 playoff teams. So I think the Padres, they've been making a lot of money moves. They've been looking good.
The Padres are in a win now situation. Obviously they're in a division with the Dodgers, so they need to make as many moves as they want. Maybe they're loading up for next season, but a lot of their moves, adding Mitch Moreland to power bat, adding Mike Clevenger, Tatis is stepping up, Machado's playing well. How far do we see this team making it into the postseason?
Honestly, I don't think it's that far, because even though they did add Clevenger, I don't think their rotation is up to par to compete with the likes of the Dodgers and the NL. The Dodgers are the best team in the MLB right now, and I don't think anyone can dispute that. So I think maybe if they add another pitcher in the offseason, they do have Paddock there. He's another good pitcher. But I think they just need to round out that rotation.
Tommy, any comment on that, or did Mike pretty much steal it all from you?
No, I think that Mike made some really good points, but I think that they definitely could go a little deeper into the postseason. Will they? I'm not so sure, because they are a young team. They do have some veterans with Manny Machado, and Clevenger's been around for a little while. But Tatis, he's one of their stars. He's a younger player, but I think about it more. They do have Eric Hosmer as well. I think that the veterans definitely do help out. Mitch Moreland, Hosmer and Moreland, they're people that have won World Series, and then even Manny Machado, he was in the World Series with the Dodgers. So I definitely think that having that playoff experience helps, mixed with a young core of guys. I think that they could go pretty deep. I mean, I think this is a year that will surprise you. I mean, it certainly has already. And anything can happen in baseball. I mean, I would not be shocked at all to see the Padres go pretty deep. Will they win the World Series? Probably not. But, I'd love to see them go deep into the
So
postseason.
I think to wrap out this segment before we move into our next one, we just passed the halfway mark of the MLB season. So obviously before the season started, we kind of gave some World Series picks. So now we're at halfway. So I just kind of want us to give our World Series picks again. What's the matchup we'll see in the World Series? Tommy, I'm going to start with you here.
Well, I would love to say the Yankees.
You did last week, or you did last episode.
No, and I still think that they do have a chance. But out of the National League, I'd have to still say that it will be the Dodgers. I just think that they're the best team by far, but you could see Atlanta there. And the White Sox are intriguing as well out of the American League. I don't know. It's tough to say. Right now, I would still go with Yankees, Dodgers, but there's definitely some other teams in the mix there.
Mike.
I think I'm going to take the Dodgers as the winners now. Even if the Yankees do become healthy, I don't know how well they're going to play coming off an injury. I don't know if they're going to be well enough to make it to the World Series and beat the Dodgers in the World Series, so I'll take the Dodgers there. And honestly, I think the Rays are making the World Series this year. I think the Rays are making the World Series this year. Just something with that team. They just win games for some reason.
Matt, what's your pick here?
I'm going to have to agree with Mike on the Dodgers. I got to have the Dodgers winning. For the AL, I just don't know. I feel like the Yankees can definitely get there if they, their injuries doesn't, kill them. That's literally their worst enemy. But I don't know. I'm just going to say Dodgers win it. Don't know who to put on the AL, to be honest.
Well, we're all definitely still unanimous with the Dodgers. I mean, they just had the best month of August in history. They hit the most home runs in the month of August and are now the best team in baseball. So it's definitely the Dodgers coming out of the National League. And Tommy mentioned a team here who's kind of on the rise. They started slow, and they're definitely on the come. It's the Chicago White Sox. I mean, Jose Abreu was Tommy's go to the week last week. Unfortunately, didn't do enough to give him a win, apparently. 7 home runs in 7 days isn't enough. But, I mean, the White Sox – I don't want to hear Luka Doncic's name, please, Matt. The White Sox have a really good young core. Yohan Moncada is kind of showing out. Yasmani Grandal and James McCann are kind of doing a rotational switch there at the catcher's position. They're keeping everyone healthy and safe and well-rested. So, I mean, Chicago could definitely be there. Cleveland, their division foe, could definitely be there. Tampa Bay could be there. The American League is like the Western Conference in the NBA. It's so open for anybody to take.
I would say the Eastern Conference would be that.
Yeah.
I'd say the Eastern Conference. Well, this is
even
even
if the East is more competitive. I feel like in the West you got the Clippers and the Lakers, and everyone else is fighting for a spot. You know what I mean?
I guess that's fair. I was just thinking of there being better teams in the Western Conference. Well, I mean, we're talking about basketball now, so why don't we move? I mean, second round of basketball is going to be starting Wednesday night. It already has started, but it's going to continue. New games are going to be played. So let's move into our second round predictions here next.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We just finished the MLB Trade Deadline. Some big trades, not so big trades, but, you heard about that. We're going to move right into the NBA. We have a big game tonight. You guys obviously are going to know the score of this game. We have no idea what's going to happen. It's actually tonight at 9, I want to say, something around there. It's Houston OKC. Big matchup. Connor was a little hyping this up beforehand. Now it's looking a little tight. Mike, who do you think is going to win this game tonight?
This is such a tough series. I mean, you saw Chris Paul absolutely took over the end of Game 6 and Russell Westbrook. Man, I feel horrible for him because I've been such a huge fan of him his whole career, but it's just disappointment after disappointment for him in the playoffs. So I'm going to stick with the Rockets. I mean, no, I'm not sticking with the Rockets. I'm sticking with the Thunder. I want to make that clear. I'm going to roll with my previous prediction. Do I think Houston can win this game? 1,000%. Do I think Russell Westbrook can come out and drop 30 points and have a triple-double? 1,000%. But do I think that's going to happen? No, I just don't. There's something off with Westbrook, with him in the playoffs. He's shot under 40% in his past three playoff series, so I don't really have any faith in him right now. He's the X factor for the Rockets. If he plays well, I think the Rockets will win, but I don't think he's going to play well, so I'm taking the Thunder. CP3 is going to lead this team to Game 7 victory.
Tommy, who do you have tonight?
I'm going to disagree. I think the Rockets are going to win. I just think they're a stronger team overall. And, you have James Harden, Russell Westbrook. You mentioned him, Mike. I think he will have a big game tonight. Both of them are veterans, and I think they're going to come out ready to go. They know what's at stake, obviously, in a Game 7. They're going to come out to play, and I think the Rockets are going to be moving on.
Connor?
Russell Westbrook's going to explode tonight. I promise you guys. I called it in the Clippers series last week when I was talking about Paul George coming out in Game 4, I think it was. Russell Westbrook's going to have a great game tonight. It's going to be his best game that he's had in any of his postseason series. I promise you, Russell Westbrook's going to be the reason why Houston moves on to round 2. James Harden's going to have a good game. No doubt James Harden has a good game every time, but it's going to be the Russell Westbrook show tonight, and Chris Paul isn't going to be able to stop him tonight.
See, I'm going to have to go with the Thunder, not only because my prediction's Thunder in 7, but they've just been rolling. I don't think they're going to stop. I think CP3 is going to propel this team over Russell Westbrook and James Harden. But, hey, I 100% think the Rockets can win that game. But we're going to move on to the second round prediction.
Wait, hold on. So, last time Connor made a prediction, right? The bold prediction, right? He said Halak's going to come out and have a shutout in Game 3 against the Lightning. You know what came out? Freezing cold take should watch this right now. He came out and said Halak's going to have a shutout. The Lightning scored 7 goals. They lit the lamp against the Bruins, and they close out the series.
Is Westbrook going off, though, a bold prediction?
You literally just said the last bold prediction I made.
No, I didn't. I said the last prediction I made was that Paul George went off.
Okay. Well, that was not your last prediction. Your last prediction was Halak.
Actually, his last prediction was the Heat. I'm going to give him that.
Oh, yeah, no, that
games ago, and then the Heat was last game.
Matt, you're right there. I'm just saying that Russell Westbrook has shown you nothing throughout this whole playoffs.
He's played in 2 games.
Okay, and he's shown you nothing over the past 3 years. For Russell Westbrook's for his sake, I'm a huge fan of him, one of his biggest fans, but his playoff resume is just miserable, and it's indefensible.
Outside of his finals appearance with Kevin Durant, who was around his team? He was left on the Thunder by himself. He did as much as he could. He put the Thunder into the playoffs and got wins in those series on his own. Now he has that James Harden there. He has other players there. So, yes, you can discredit his playoff experience in the past. But, I mean, come on.
I mean, he did have Paul George for 2 years. He did have Kevin Durant every other year except that the year they made it to playoffs. He had that one year, that MVP year.
So the reason that they didn't do anything, the reason why Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook didn't do anything is all on Russell Westbrook?
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying he hasn't played up to par. He hasn't played
is Kevin Durant playoff in the league? No, stop. Is Kevin Durant's playoff is that tainted as well because he didn't win with the Thunder and he had to go to the Warriors to win? Is his resume tainted?
It's tainted somewhat, but he did end up winning two championships with the Warriors. He was the key player. He knocked down clutch shot after clutch shot. And yes, the Warriors were an overpowered team. But I'm saying without Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook had no playoff success whatsoever. And that's unexcusable. Even with Paul George for 2 years, you can't win one series, not even one. I mean, come on.
That was a Paul George coming off a compound fracture in his leg.
Okay, even last year, did they win a series? No, they didn't win the first round.
You watch tonight, Mike. You watch tonight. Russell Westbrook's going to go off. He's going to have a classic Russell Westbrook triple-double, and he's going to bring Houston to round 2.
I hope he does. I'm a huge Russell Westbrook fan. I hope Russell Westbrook does.
I think You're going to have to compete with Connor Blunt on that biggest Russell Westbrook fan, because I do know he's actually a very big Russell Westbrook fan. But we're going to move right into the second round predictions. Hopefully this will be a little less stressful. We got the Lakers versus whoever you said would win. So we're just going to leave it at that. Tommy, we haven't heard from you in a little while. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that the Lakers are definitely good. I don't know. Why are you shaking your head, Con?
I'm so irritated with Mike right now. Tommy, you just continue.
Okay. Yeah, I think that the Lakers, I've talked about before on this show, I have them going pretty deep into the postseason. I just think they're a really strong team, obviously, with LeBron, Anthony Davis. And you look who they have coming off the bench as well. They have Dwight Howard, a lot of veteran guys. So I got the Lakers.
Connor?
Neither of these teams, OKC or Houston, are any match to the Lakers. It doesn't matter who wins tonight. It's the Lakers moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Mike?
Or Western Conference
Yeah,
Finals.
I was gonna say Connor. Yeah, the Sixers are gonna. I mean, the Lakers. Excuse me. The Lakers are gonna go 6 games max with any either Houston or OKC. So I'm rolling with the Lakers to advance.
Yep, I gotta agree with you guys. I actually got the Lakers in 5 on my bracket. I think it can happen. I think the Lakers are one of the hottest teams. So we can move down to Denver beating Utah last night. If you guys want to talk about that, we can, or we could just move on from that.
I mean,
we have not seen a game like that in the NBA in a long time. I mean, with a final score of 80-78. When was the last time we saw that? That was such a grinded out battle between two teams who both teams deserved to move on to the second round. I think if those teams were matched up with other teams, I mean, obviously there's very high-powered offenses and defenses in the Western Conference, but I mean, both the Jazz and Denver deserve to have moved on. And obviously it just seems as though the better team won that grinded out battle in Game 7.
You know what's a funny thing about this series? It was so offensively driven through Donovan Mitchell putting up 40, then 50, then Murray putting up 50 multiple times in the series. In the last game, you could see the determination and the urgency and the will that each team had as they came out and they guarded their behinds off. I mean, they wanted that game so bad, and Jokic hit that one hook shot over Gobert, which was kind of like the dagger. But that last shot by Conley was almost in. It was this close, and you could see the screenshot was halfway down the rim. It totally bowled out, and I feel bad for the Jazz, but I do think the Nuggets deserve to win the series just by this much, just by a little.
Class act by Jamal Murray, though, after that game. I mean, he saw Donovan Mitchell down. Donovan Mitchell poured his entire heart out into that series. Definitely, Jamal Murray didn't go to celebrate with his team. He went over to his foe, to his opponent, Donovan Mitchell, and picked him up and shouted congratulations on a great series. Both guys are class acts, and both guys are future talents in this league to come.
Yeah, they really played amazing. But now we know who they're going to play. They're going to play the Clippers starting tomorrow. Actually, it would be today for you guys. So we're going to see that in GOAT Picks. We're going to pick that game. But for the series, who do you think is going to win, Mike?
It's going to be the Clippers. I mean, the Clippers, Pat Bev is back, so I think he's going to be a pest on Jamal Murray. So they're going to rely really heavily on Jokic to score, and the Clippers are going to be way too much for the Nuggets. I'll take the Clippers in 5 or 6.
Connor?
It's got to be the Clips. I mean, I think this series going to 7 and the amount of willpower and everything that was poured into this series, both these teams are going to be drained going up against now the 2 seed in the Western Conference. I don't think Denver has a shot. It's unfortunate because they've played a great first series, but the Clippers are just going to overpower them.
Tommy?
Yeah, I agree with Mike and Connor. I don't really think it's going to be very close. I think the Clippers are going to win easily. I'm going to say even maybe 4 or 5 games. I think it could be a sweep. I think they're going to come out ready to go. And, yeah, I just think it's going to be the Clippers quite easily.
I got the Clippers in 6 myself. Denver is a talented team. Jamal Murray played amazing, but I don't think he's going to do anything spectacular against the Clippers. He definitely could, but I got them in 6. I'd give him a couple games, but nothing. I don't think it's going to be anything Game 7 like we saw with the first round against Utah. But we already did one matchup in the East, so we're gonna look at the other one first, and then figure out if we want to look at the one we already did again. Which, oh, we'll go right to Milwaukee, Miami. Connor was very high on the Miami Heat for Go Picks. He picked them. They won. They actually played amazing against Giannis. So, Connor, I'm going to start with you. I think you've already said who you have winning, I'm pretty sure, but who do you got?
I have the Heat. I definitely have the Heat. They're playing again tonight. You guys are watching now. You guys know who won game 2. But, I mean, Giannis really didn't have a good game 1. They found a way to shut him down. I mean, he was still only 1 assist shy of a triple-double, but 18 points and 10 rebounds that's not Giannis-like numbers. That's not his MVP candidate numbers. So they found a way to shut – I mean, postseason Jimmy Butler. Let me just say that. He set his new career high for points in a game with 40. That's something. There was an article that went out on ESPN this morning about how the second Jimmy Butler signed the paper in Miami, there was an instant connection between him and the city and the team. There was another article that went out this morning about Duncan Robinson, who was a D3 athlete to undrafted to now the top shooter and one of the top shooters in the NBA. I mean, this team is loaded with talent, whether it was undrafted talent or late round talent or older veterans in Goran Dragic and Jimmy Butler, or younger future stars in Bam Adebayo. I mean, this team is really well-rounded, and you guys overlooked it. And I remember back to our second episode when I mentioned that the Heat could go really far, and you guys really overlooked it because of their youth. And now look at where they are. This team has so much chemistry. They're matching up with the top team in the NBA, arguably, and they're shutting down the top player. I mean, Eric Bledsoe didn't play in game 1, so that could be a key piece here. I'm not sure if he's playing in game 2 tonight now either. But the Heat played a really good game. I mean, Goran Dragic played well. I'm just going on and on because I love the Miami Heat in this series and I'm a Heat fan. But I legitimately see them winning this game. And I don't see it going to 7 games either.
Tommy, what do you have to say about this? These are your champion.
Yeah, I gotta disagree, Connor, but I know that you've been high on the Heat the whole season, and they played very well. But I don't know. I think the Bucks are gonna win this. I think they're gonna win the whole thing. I think they're gonna be bringing home the trophy at the end of this. And you have Giannis, one of the best players in the game, in my opinion, the best. But we can argue about that. But no, I think that Giannis is gonna lead the team. And he has a good group around him as well, good coaching staff, and they've just played so well the whole season. I don't know. I just really don't see the Heat putting an end to that. But, they do have a good group over there in Miami, so it is possible. But I think the Bucks are definitely going to win.
Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I gotta agree with Tommy here. Even though the Heat are playing really well right now, I think I still going to take the Bucks in 6, if not 6, then 7 games. I just think Giannis is going to bounce back. That's like you saw in the first series against the Magic, they lost game 1. I think the Bucks are going to bounce back for the rest of the series. I think Giannis is going to bounce back for the rest of the series. I know the Heat and the Magic are not the same team, but you're seeing a pattern between the Bucks playing, these lower seeds in game 1 and constantly losing them. I understand that they're not the same team, Connor, right? But I think the Bucks will bounce back. They will adjust, and Giannis will have a great series the rest of the way.
I'm just gonna make my point out before Connor looks like he's about to blow up. But I'm gonna have to go with the Milwaukee Bucks. I think Miami's a very talented team. I've said that they can make the conference finals, maybe even the NBA finals. I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm gonna go safe here. Bucks in 7. Giannis, I know that Miami has played great defense against Giannis throughout this whole season. Like even before the hiatus, they played amazing defense on Giannis. I just can't see them playing that type of defense throughout the whole series. I think Chris Middleton played amazing. Brook Lopez played great, but that one factor that the Bucks missed is Giannis. And if Giannis starts playing like himself, I can't see the Miami Heat getting out of this.
I think another big piece for Miami, who has that postseason, 2 big pieces for Miami who has that postseason resume and has that ability to teach these younger guys is Andre Iguodala and Udonis Haslem. I mean, Iguodala's out there getting minutes during the game, but I mean, Haslem, I probably played in 10 total games this season. But I mean, he's there on the bench, and he's more of a coach for Miami than he is a player. I mean, if they're up by a bunch, they'll throw him in the game. But he's a coach there, and he's a great coach, and he has that player mentality to teach these younger guys. I mean, we look at Tyler Hero. He's a rookie in this league, and he's out there having his first season of playoff exposure, and he's hitting daggers. He pretty much put the knife through Milwaukee's heart in game one there with a big three there. I mean, obviously the Antetokounmpo turnover there at the end of the game was huge, and I had a little problem with the officiating there towards the end of the game. It was one of the plays, it was an inbound play, and they were getting the ball to Jimmy Butler, and I think it was Chris Middleton went over Jimmy Butler's back, and then they reviewed it, and it wound up becoming Milwaukee ball. But I mean, we have to be able to call fouls on that. Now, I'm not sounding like Miami deserved a foul call there or anything like that, but the officiating has to be better. We can't miss calls like that after going in and reviewing it. We're in playoff basketball now. This has to become like key. If we're going to go to the monitor and spend 2 minutes looking at whose hand it hit off of, we have to account for the fouls as well.
Haslam hasn't retired yet. Like this
No.
guy's still in the league.
It's kind of crazy. He's been in this league forever. Oh yeah. Also, I just looked it up. Eric Bledsoe has a game time decision tonight, so I definitely think it'll be a boost. Even if he's on the floor, he could be sort of a decoy for Milwaukee to take some pressure off Giannis.
Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see how they do with Eric Bledsoe. See if
I don't know if Giannis wants the pressure taken off of him, though. If anything, I would say Giannis wants more pressure put on him. I think Giannis could be a player. If the Bucks are going to win this series, it's going to be because of Giannis, and it's going to be because he's putting the team on his back.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not going to be because Chris Middleton put up 27 points or Brook Lopez put up 24. That's going to be key contributors to win throughout the series if the Bucks go on to win. But Giannis is going to want to put this team on his back to win. And after game one, I mean, Jimmy Butler put up 40 points. We're going to see the defensive player of the year playing on Jimmy Butler tonight.
I don't think he's going on Jimmy Butler. You saw the reporter question him after the game and why he wasn't guarding Jimmy Butler at the end of the game when Jimmy Butler was on fire. So I don't see, Chris Middleton is capable of guarding him. I just think Jimmy Butler was in a different planet the other night. But anyways, I didn't necessarily mean that Giannis is going to be passing the ball more to Eric Bledsoe. I just mean like Eric Bledsoe is a threat to score, so the Heat will pay less attention to Giannis, so Giannis will have a more opportunity to carry the team on the Bucks back. I definitely agree with you. If the Bucks are winning the series, it's going to be because of Giannis and the surrounding players, the players surrounding him put up some good numbers.
But before we get into our other matchup here, I'm just going to say, if Miami wins this series, it doesn't matter who wins that other series. Miami's going to the finals.
sheesh.
That's a bold prediction. I'll call that a bold prediction, but I'm going to stand by that. And then we can go back to episode 2, and you both can eat your words. And Matt, you can take your whole walking out of the room when I said it, and you can put it where the sun doesn't shine.
Oh,
I mean, let's relax about that because we didn't see what happened at the bubble. Miami was a team that won at home. They were terrific at home. So the Sixers were too, but I really wasn't so sure how they were going to be. So you can't really tell me, eat my words. It's not like I said that like right before.
You didn't say anything. I said something, and you walked out of the room.
Yeah, I walk out of the rooms all the time. I do that like all the time. That's how you get out of a room, Connor. Connor, if you want to leave a room, you have to walk out the door. I mean, isn't this
how the Sixers are
you
walking
learn in
out
preschool?
but I walked in the door when the Sixers walked out. But anyways,
I guess since we gave me the chance to talk about the Heat, I feel like we should move into the other Eastern Conference semifinals match here. We don't have to talk about it if you guys don't want to. I mean, we can just move into pick'ems if we want to. Mike's silent. I mean, we don't have to talk about the Celtics.
I mean,
The only thing I want to say about the Celtics is don't get safe here. The Raptors do have, they still have some championship pedigree. And I do think that they're able to make a comeback in this series. Do I think they will? No. The Celtics are in a great position right now. They need to take game 3. If not game 3, they definitely have to take game 4, because if they don't take game 4 and the Raptors tie it up, they have all the momentum going to game 5, and I don't feel safe there. So the Celtics need to take at least one of the next 2 games.
That is not the response I expected out of Mike Buetti.
Listen, I'm not getting too ahead of myself. I know the Raptors are a good team. Well, one thing I do want to say, Nick Nurse, what are you doing after the game, going out calling the refs just because Tatum had 14 free throws? Okay, the Celtics had only 6 more free throws than the Raptors in total. It's not like Tatum was at the line 20 to 25 times, right? I mean, I can't really think of a call that was necessarily not in favor, like not a fair call. You know what I mean? The only unfair call I could think of is when Tatum had that offensive push off on Anunoby and he knocked down the shot. The ref called an offensive foul. Tatum reacted and the ref called it a tech because he was upset with the call.
To be fair about that is that they kept the consistency. That's something you have to keep as a ref. You have to keep consistency so it doesn't look like you're favoring someone. So if they've done that, if they called that before, then you have to keep calling that because you can't look like you're favoring someone, especially at this big of a game. So if the refs are keeping consistency, then I think it's fine.
I understand. I just hate that call. Like,
of course you do.
I'm just saying, even if Kyle Lowry did the same thing on the other end and he got a tech for doing the same thing as Tatum did, I would hate that. I hate that technical foul call. I mean, he's just reacting to the call. He's just, upset. He's not even saying anything to the ref. He's talking to himself. He's not even saying like what the F was that call right in the ref's face. He's just upset about the call. I understand the refs have been calling it all season, but I absolutely hate that call. I hate it so much.
Mike, you mentioned technical fouls, and it kind of made me think for a second. Back to Marcus Morris from the Clippers and all of his actions toward Luka Doncic. I mean, do we think what he did deserved a suspension?
Yes. Okay, let's put it this way. We're at a time where this stuff isn't. It's not okay. Like we've really come to a time where if Luka Doncic said that about flip this around, Luka Doncic would be suspended. He'd be getting hate all over him. He would not be in a good situation. So I get that it's all whatever his thing that he said. And then when he steps on his foot too, and then he hit him. I mean, at least 1 game suspension. I'm not asking for out of the playoffs, but I just think that it's not something that we need to see in the playoffs.
I have to disagree here. I think Marcus Morris,
Come on, Mike. If Luka said that, if Luka said those words about Marcus Morris, we'd be in a whole different situation.
What specific words are you talking about?
It wasn't Marcus. It was Montrezl Harrell that said.
You're talking about Montrezl Harrell, and Montrezl Harrell said the game after he approached Luka and he apologized to Luka about those words. Okay, so Marcus Morris did not say that.
That's my fault. I think he should be suspended then, but I don't know.
Marcus Morris was 100% be suspended. Stepping on the kid's ankle. I mean, this Luka Doncic is an upcoming star in this league. The NBA cannot afford for him to get hurt. They cannot afford for him to be purposely hurt well enough so that he can't play in these games. Because fans are tuning in to watch these players go off. Fans tuned in to the Denver-Utah series to watch Jamal and Donovan Mitchell drop 50 or 40 points. They tuned into that Clippers-Mavs series to watch Luka hit that game-winning 3 and to put up the numbers he did. So for Marcus Morris to be as blatant to step on his ankle and then to go and hit him, that's just wrong. There's no reason for that to be in the NBA. We can have the little chirps and the little scuffles and everything, but when you're blatantly disrespecting someone's game and trying to hurt someone, that's when you draw the line. That's when suspensions have to be handed out. I mean, suspensions are being handed out in the MLB left and right for pitchers throwing at people. That's blatant. Why are we not suspending people for blatant enough actions in the NBA?
Listen, stepping on someone's back of their shoe is not the same as throwing.
It wasn't on the back of his shoe. It was on the side of his ankle.
It was directly in the back of his shoe. Luka was going to the sideline.
Go rewatch the video, Mike.
It wasn't
watched the video
directly
countless
outside his
times.
ankle. It was kind of in the corner. It wasn't directly.
Okay, listen. Listen, I think Luka just needs to toughen up a little. I'm going to be honest. I think Luka's being a little bit soft here. Listen, Marcus Morris is a tough player. He got fined $35,000.
Well, I'd rather that be suspension than a fine.
I don't think the suspension is warranted here. He got ejected out of the game for the flagrant against Luka. Yes, that's fine. I'm fine with an ejection, but an additional suspension added on that. I think there's a difference between – I don't think he was necessarily going out and trying to put Luka out of the game. I think he was just trying to irritate Luka a little, try and get him off his game by providing a physical presence. I do think he should have been ejected in Game 6, which he was. Do I think a suspension is warranted? No. Tommy, what do you think about the whole situation?
Well, personally, I didn't see it, but there's no place for anything like that in any sport. You brought up with baseball, they suspend people all the time. It used to be like just if you hit somebody, but now they're doing it even if if it looks like it's intentional. And I just don't think there's a place for any of that in any sport. You have to protect the players. And, I think that the league should step in and give suspensions because otherwise they're just going to keep doing it. I mean, if they don't get a penalty. So, no, I think there should be suspensions there because there's no place for it in basketball or any sport.
And to say that Luka has to toughen up, I mean, there's so much stress on these basketball's ankles throughout. They're on them for 48 minutes. They're jumping up and down. There's all that stress on the ankle. So, you step on his ankle and then the following play, he goes out and rolls it or something and you aggravate it, or you step on his ankle and he immediately rolls it and goes down. You can't tell someone to toughen up. That's not right.
I'm just saying that he just stepped on the back.
If someone did that to a Celtics player, I guarantee you'd be calling for their head.
If he just stepped on the back of their shoe, it's a different situation.
Okay,
right? Wait, hold on. Let me finish my point here. If Luka went up for a jump shot and Marcus Morris steps under where he's going to land, that is a completely different situation. I would be screaming my head off if Marcus Morris did something like that because that's going to result in a serious ankle injury. That's how Kawhi got injured against the Warriors when Zaza, a cheap shot, stepped under his landing space. If Marcus Morris did that, I'd say yes, fine, suspend him for 5 games. I don't care. That's unacceptable, stepping under their airspace when he's going up for a jump shot. But he was just inbounding the ball and he stepped on the back of his shoe. I don't think it's that big of a deal to warrant a suspension.
I think you should rewatch the video. I don't want to talk about this anymore because I just hate Mike's take on it.
Okay, wait. I just want to apologize for mixing those up. I didn't really mean that. But he did. Okay, so when Luka got hit, who was that?
That was Marcus.
That was Morris.
Okay, that kind of is just awful too. We're not even talking about that too, but I think this is a good time to move into Go Picks, wrap up this episode. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll see you guys next.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We're going to swing it right into the Go Picks section where Connor went 3-0 last week. I went 2-1. Matt went 1-2, and I think me and Tommy went 2-1. So
we don't know about the Rays Yankees yet.
The Yankees-Rays series is not over yet. It's tied 1-1. So we'll see what happens tonight, Wednesday night. So we'll see what happens there. I think the Rays are going to win. I think we all think the Rays are going to win tonight. But anyways.
I don't think so, Mike. I think the Yankees are going to come out ready to go. It's a big game. They had the benches clear.
Listen, it's not the Yankees. It's the Rail Riders at this point. Anyways, Connor.
Don't get me going.
Let's start off with the NHL. We're going to go with the Flyers-Islanders Game 6. The Islanders were up 3-1, and the Flyers came out won Game 5 in overtime. Do you think the Islanders are going to finish the Flyers off, or do you think the Flyers are going to be able to make a comeback and force a Game 7?
I don't. I think there's going to be a Game 7 in the series. I definitely think the Flyers are in another win-now situation or a must-win situation. They're going to put everything they can out onto that ice to win this game. Obviously, they're the number 1 seed in the East, correct? Yeah, so they're going to do anything they can. They're going to do They're going to win this game ultimately. They're going to do anything they can to win this game, and it's going to wind up being that way. And there's going to be a Game 7. Game 7 may not go their way, but there's going to be a Game 7.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Connor. I think the Islanders are finishing off this series. Um, I think Carter Hart played a fantastic game last night. He kind of saved the Flyers behind. I don't know if he's going to be able to play another Game 6 like he played at Game 5. So I think the Islanders have been the better team in this series. They've been the better team in the playoffs. I think they're going to come out and finish this series and advance to face the Lightning in the Eastern Conference Finals. Anyways, Matt, what do you think? You got the Flyers winning the Cup. Are they staying alive?
Yeah. For sure. I mean, the Islanders, they needed to win that game last night because they're giving all the momentum to the Flyers. Carter Hart, he played great, like you said. I think he's going to keep playing great because once the Flyers are hot, they're not stopping. Claude Giroux finally stepped up. Captain Claude Giroux stepped up last night for the Flyers in a key game. They needed to win. Scott Lawton netted that overtime goal. They're going to keep hot. They're going to stay hot. And I think Connor said that Game 7 might not go their way. I'm going to say Game 7 is going to go their way. They're going to finish off these Islanders to go in, get rid of the Lightning, irrelevancy, the best team on paper, but they can't perform that way, I don't think. And then they're going to move on to the finals.
Can I also just mention that my NHL bracket is just completely busted by this point? I mean, the poor Bruins, they let me down.
They did let you down. The Lightning have shown up good for me, but it's not over yet. Tommy, who do you got? The Islanders or the Flyers?
I got to roll with the Flyers. I've been picking them. I have them moving on in my bracket, I believe. And, yeah, I agree. I think they're going to force a Game 7. And I'm not so sure which way it's going to go. I think the Islanders have a really good team, but I think that the Flyers could win the series as well. But, yeah, in this one, I got the Flyers.
Okay. I think the Islanders are a different breed, and they're going to bounce back in Game 6, but we'll see. We'll just leave it there. Moving on to the NBA, we got Game 1 of the Clippers-Nuggets series. Who do we got for Game 1, Connor?
This is a pretty easy one. It's got to be the Clippers. I mean, the Nuggets are still just going to be – they're going to be exhausted coming out onto the floor. We're going to see it. They may play sluggish. There may be a lot of turnovers. So it's the Clippers. There's no question about this. This should be pretty easy. It should be a unanimous pick here.
I agree with you, Connor. I think the Nuggets are going to be absolutely drained from last series. You even saw Jamal Murray start to cool off last game, so I think he's kind of done for the rest of the playoffs. As far as 40-point games go, he might put up a 30-pointer against the Clippers here and there, but I think the Clippers are coming out and they're winning Game 1. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I got the Clippers. I feel like this is going to be unanimous.
Tommy?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Clippers as well. We talked about it a little bit before, but you made good points. I mean, they had that draining game last night, and I just think – or Denver, that is, that had the long game. And, yeah, I just think that the Clippers are going to come out ready to go and win the first one.
All right. Next, we are going to move into the MLB. We are going to pick a series between the Oakland Athletics and the San Diego Padres. This is going to be a good series. Two pretty much evenly matched teams. Connor, who do you got?
We were talking during the trade deadline. You mentioned the Rays and how they're a team that just finds a way to win games. That's kind of Oakland this year. Oakland really just goes out there. They don't have that big stud. I mean, they have Matt Olson and Matt Chapman, and they have a solid rotation and some future stars there. But they just find ways to win games, and the Padres kind of are trying to rebuild into that win-now situation. This is definitely going to be a good series. It may be the premier series of the weekend, but I'm going to go with Oakland here. They're going to find a way to win 2 of these 3 games.
You know what? I got to disagree with you here. I think the Padres are going to win this series. The Padres have won 2 in a row, while I think I think Oakland's lost 2 in a row. So I think the Padres have the momentum right now. Bringing in Clevenger, bringing in Moreland, it's going to give them a boost for this series. I think Clevenger should probably pitch one of these games, so I think that should be a win there. And I think they'll find a way to win another game in the series. Anyways, Matt, who do you got, the Padres or the A's?
I'm going to go with the Padres, too. I do think Clevenger is projected to pitch. Tommy might know that, but, yeah.
I don't think he is going to be in this series, actually. According to ESPN, he's going to be in Game 2 of their series with the Rockies next week.
Okay.
Okay.
I think regardless of that, I still think the Padres are going to win.
Yeah.
All right, Tommy. Me and Matt got the Padres. Connor's got the A's. Who you going with here?
Yeah, I gotta go with the Padres as well.
These wins, guys. I mean, I'm in first place. You guys are just giving me more.
Okay.
No.
It's going to be really funny when we all chose the same MLB team, and you're the one sinking down the stand.
That's what happened in the NBA last week too, right?
Listen, it's a
All
different
right,
sport.
all right.
Different sport, you know. It's fine. It's fine.
God,
So-
Mike, I just had so much of you today. I'm done.
Listen,
Finish up your analysis, Tommy.
People hate to listen to the facts. The truth hurts. The truth really does hurt. I
Who's the
have
best player in the NBA.
Kawhi Leonard.
It's
Jesus.
just not
Really
like
hurt.
I feel like we should really do a poll for this, but all right.
Listen, a poll is not gonna. It's an opinion-based question. I think.
This is opinion. It's not like you're the cold hard truth. This is all opinionated.
I know.
Tommy,
Like, what's the
No, no,
difference?
no, no, no,
all
no,
right,
no,
all
no.
right, all right.
Tommy, finish up your analysis of this MLB series.
Oh, well, there's not too much to say here. I do like the A's. I think you made some good points, Connor. And this series is in Oakland. So, you know, it's not as much of a home field. We've talked about that before because there's no fans. But I got to agree with Matt and Mike. I just think the Padres, they have a lot of good young players. And we talked about them in the MLB segment at the beginning of the show. They have a mix of veterans and young guys, and they're just adding to it. As they did just a couple of days ago at the trade deadline. And it's going to be a really good series. Like you said, might be the best one of the weekend. But I think ultimately the Padres will come out on top.
Okay, I think that kind of. What were you saying, Matt?
There you have it. Tommy's predictions gonna win.
Yep, that's it. Anyone else have any comments before we wrap up this episode? Nope.
How about that Rockies beatdown last night?
That was
That was
horrible.
Wild.
Poor
The
Rockies.
Giants put up the most runs and hits they ever have in their franchise history with 23 runs and 25 hits. The Rockies tweeted out yesterday during the day, this is going to be a good month, and then they lost 23-5.
Did you see their tweet after the game?
I did. I saw it on ESPN. Scott Van Pelt was talking. It was really funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
Whoever controls their social media deserves a raise.
I know.
All right, I think that kind of wraps up the episode. You know, it's another great one in the books. You know, like always, follow our socials, subscribe to us, hit the like button, follow all our personal socials as well, and we'll see you next time.